Hey, what's going on? Today's show, we're going to talk about if you have been abused by a significant other, a spouse, or your child, whether minor or adult, or even your parent. This video is for you. Okay, this topic today is for you. Now, of course, I'm happy to answer any questions towards the end of the segment of today's show. We'll be online for at least 15 minutes, and I'm happy to answer questions. Just drop it in the comment section. My name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in all 50 states of America and across the world, helping you solve your immigration problem and maybe preventing the problem from happening in the first place. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate y'all joining live here. We do always have a lot of questions. Please know that I try my best to answer them. If I don't answer your question at all or not as in depth as you were hoping, please give us a call. See if you qualify for a consultation strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. And if you're just now joining for the first time ever, welcome to the show. We do offer that for at no cost to you for 15 minutes, really because we want to help point you in the right direction. Okay, that is part of that helps fulfill our mission as a law firm, which you would think is for most law firms, but they have some different goals in mind. So, but please know that not everyone qualifies for the 15 minutes. But if you know you definitely need more than 15 minutes, then maybe like 30 minutes to an hour, we do charge for that. So just keep that in mind. All right. So is there going to be a VAWA interview? An interview based on adjustment of status, based on Violence Against Women Act? And the answer is yes. Okay, the default is yes. Unfortunately, they're not waiving interviews for VAWA. Okay, generally speaking. Now, keep in mind, now this is, to be as specific as possible, this is for typically people who are concerned. They don't know if they want to even file it because they're concerned about the interview and really having to retell the story of the abuse. I understand that part. I acknowledge your pain. I know it'll be difficult. Please know that as part of at least the I-360, we do help you, guide you to, we don't write your letter. That's your story to tell the truth. We just help customize it, okay, to make it organized, to give you some pointers, some typical things that USCIS would want to know in that letter, okay? Because some people have, they either don't know how to get started, right? Or when they do get started in that letter, they think that, oh, how many pages do I need to write? It's not really so much about how many pages. It's more about the content, okay? And that you get it in. But some people tend to write so much and it's really, you don't need that much. But that's not the purpose of this video. Just want to give you an idea that you already told your story in the letter. Yes, in the interview, they likely will ask you about it, but it's not one of those things that you're going to have to go through the entire story. Okay, they might want to use that interview as an opportunity to clarify some things. Okay, but it's the interview. Okay, adjustment of status interview is mostly about seeing if you're even eligible. Okay, so it's kind of thought of as in reverse in this in a sense that if you're inadmissible. Okay, inadmissible is a legal term word that we use, basically say what are the legal reasons that you would be denied, not eligible for adjustment of status, aka resident status, green card. Okay, so the thing is with this is that, for example, people have been so concerned recently about, do I need to take the COVID vaccine? Yes, for better or worse. I know a lot of people don't want to take it. If you don't take it, then you have to apply for a waiver, and most people don't qualify for that waiver because it's very specific situation, reasoning they want. Okay, so aside from that, so related to the COVID vaccine is health ground inadmissibility. Another one is about your criminal history, if you have any, right? And the other one is if you had any court hearings before, right? Essentially, if you have a permanent bar. Of course, our stance is that we're arguing to the government, USCIS, that you're still eligible, even if you have permanent bar. So I know some people who have seen this phrase permanent bar doesn't actually mean you can't get status at all in the future. Okay. But typically is if you have a permanent bar, is that you have to stay outside America for 10 years. Like there's no waiver in the meantime. But if you're eligible for VAWA, you typically don't have to worry about that. But some officers like to give a little pushback. They want to throw out their fist. Okay, we got punch back legally. Okay, and advocate for you. So that's some things you need to know about that. Now you might ask, maybe you're at the situation where you're about to be scheduled for an interview. You think you're going to be scheduled soon, or you already have the interview day, and you're wondering, do I need a lawyer? Now, our goal, our part of our mission is to empower clients to understand their rights and also what they're going through. Some people, you might think it's surprising, but some people ask, by the way, what is our application on file for? We get questions like that. And we want to make sure that you understand everything. So when we get questions like that, we acknowledge that some for the most part, it's just better to have a lawyer on hand. Okay. Just practically speaking, if an officer asks you a question and to me, it may seem like I already know, like I know what they're asking, but to you, you don't hear these questions that often, right? Or this would be your first time, other than preparation session with our team, but you might get a little tripped up. And it's not to say that in this scenario of example, it's not to say that the officer's trying to trick you, is that you just never heard this kind of question before, right? And maybe the way we phrase it to you in preparation is slightly different, right? So it could throw you off. So my point is, a lawyer, what we do is that when we can sense that from you in the interview, I would politely ask the officer, officer, do you mind if I rephrase for my client? And every time I've asked that, they do not mind. So in some ways, we're there as peace of mind. Okay, we're there for a reason. We're not trying to keep you calm, because when we keep you calm, you can complete the interview successfully. Okay. If we didn't think that you were eligible in the first place to file for this, we wouldn't encourage you to file in the first place. Okay. So you have to be confident. We're there to help you be confident. Now, let's say you don't want to interview a lawyer there, because, of course, it's going to cost more money. Now, in that sense, we still prepare you for the interview to help empower you and to help you be confident. Okay. You may be confident in your everyday life, day-to-day thing, right? But when you get down to it at the interview, you're like shaking your boots, and you wouldn't know until you get there, right? So that's why a lot of people ask us, we have 3 different service plans: Light, Pro, and Max. Obviously, Max provides the maximum services for you, which includes the interview. Some people are not sure, but we just say, okay, select the Max Pro plan for now if you're not sure, if you want us at the interview. But you can always upgrade to the Max plan later, okay? So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're at least considering our law firm, we're just trying to help you, point you in the right direction. But again, we do offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. If you're on TikTok, you can't see the information, but Facebook and YouTube, you can see it right up here. Okay. But if you're on TikTok, or y'all are driving, working, you're in a quick work break, you can just send us a DM. All right. And ask for, contact information. We'll send it to you. One of our team members, typically Maria, is the one who's responding to messages. Okay. When it gets to a super legal question, and we really recommend you schedule a consultation. All right. Because we only allow attorneys to answer legal questions, just so we're very upfront. And it's sometimes difficult to answer legal questions on TikTok, as you can imagine, especially by comment. So you'll see me sometimes, if you comment a question in like a DM, most of the time I prefer to record a video, because there's a lot to say rather than type it out. So please know I prefer that. And I know I've been a little slow for some of y'all, just because I've been still coughing. I don't know what's going on. I need to get checked out. I need to go see a professional. All right. So let's see. So that's really about it in terms of this topic for today. If there is a VAWA interview, yes, please expect it. Okay, because we don't want if it gets waived for whatever reason, that's amazing, right? That's amazing. But don't assume it will be waived just because like marriage cases are being generally waived right now. Okay, but yeah, essentially, like if you have any criminal history, they do want to talk about that. They want to check it. But just because you have some crimes in the past or even arrest, that doesn't mean it's an automatic. You get rendered in not eligible. So that's something, of course, you discuss with your attorney anyway. All right, so let's get down to some questions and see what we got here. So, all right, thanks for your questions. Thank you so much for your trust and allowing us to you feel comfortable to answer your question. How do you get a medical visa? You mean like a work visa or a visa to get medical treatment in America? If you're trying to get treatment in America, that's what we call like a humanitarian parole type. It's parole, it's technically not a visa. But if you're talking about like a work visa, it could be through H-1B. Like if you already have the degree, you already have the license through the state, H-1B. If it's like if you're from Canada or Mexico, there's a TN visa for registered nurse. So it's a lot of different. It just depends on your occupation as well. There's a lot of different options. All right, on Ren Ren Reed. You're grateful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Which, by the way, if you have a chance and you appreciate our content and how we share information, please go to reviewtinglaw.com. You can see it scrolling down below on YouTube and Facebook. We really appreciate it, especially if you have talked to one of our team members, one of our CARES team members. They do a lot of great work and they suck it up with me every day. I always either train them in a meeting or I share a recording with them. Like, this is what you need to know about this situation with immigration, especially when it was President Trump. Things were changing literally, it felt like every day. It's still changing or updates right now with Biden administration. And for the most part, not for a negative reason, negative situation, just more for clarity. Which surprisingly, if you didn't know this, we didn't get so much clarity when it was President Trump or even President Obama. So, but now it's being much more clarified. So that's great. Anyways, let me get to the question that Ren Reed asked on YouTube. Your friend received the work permit, but the country of birth is wrong. Does she have to return it for correction? Is this a big issue? What we do is on the USCIS.gov website, there should be a box where you can request for a correction, I believe, something like that. So that's what I would recommend. Yeah, that's weird, right? Like, how can a country of birth be incorrect? Sometimes it's USCIS error, and sometimes it's the applicant error. Like maybe they get the country of birth could be different than the country of nationality, right? So that's hopefully that helps you out there, your friend. All right. Thanks for the request to join live here on TikTok, but I don't know how this works. And sometimes some of y'all do that on accident. Okay, there you go, JB. I found your comment. Thanks, Maria, for pinning it. Do I need to wait? Do you need to wait for USS to schedule your medical? Oh, is that what y'all mean by okay? Marriage based GC. Oh, that's a great question, JB, because USCIS is not responsible to schedule your medical exam. That is on you. Okay. That is on you. So if you don't know how to do that clearly, it sounds like send us a DM. We'll send you the link. All right. We'll send we'll send you some tips on that. Sounds like you already filed your medical. I'm sorry, you already filed your case, but USCIS is not responsible to schedule the medical exam for you. That is on you. That is your responsibility. She that girl. If you get annulment, can you still qualify for VAWA? Hmm. I'm not sure about that actually. That's gonna be tough. That's gonna be real tough. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be tough. My gut answer is no. I don't think so because you have to show that you're married. And if you're getting annulment, you're trying to basically say it was didn't exist, even though it did, right? So it's I just that's just something to think about. I know some people want to get annulment, but yeah, it's basically saying it like evaporated. So how are you gonna tell? How are you gonna want the public to say no that it's evaporated, never existed, but then you want to tell USCIS that that there was a marriage before. So that's just something to think about. Not trying to obviously not trying to judge anyone. If I were to get, my first thought would be get annulment too. But for immigration purposes, that's going to be a tough argument. If you have a record and tried crossing illegally, you got deported back, can you still be legalized? Um, it depends. So we usually assume it's called a voluntary return. So if it's a voluntary return where where it's just at the border and you didn't actually go through a judge, immigration court, then because you go through court, then that's when we call it officially like an order of removal or voluntary departure. So it sounds like the based on what you've just shared right now, that short snippet, that's possible, okay? But I wouldn't try to cross illegally anymore, okay? I do not recommend that. Try. I know it's hard, but try to get a sponsor to a company to sponsor you instead in the meantime. Because if you cross illegally, then it sounds like you don't have any family members to sponsor you. All right. Let's see here. Great questions, by the way. So good that so helpful to everyone else that I've asked my team member Maria to help write down some of these questions so we can so eventually we can create some kind of FAQ for y'all, like that y'all can access. Which, by the way, we do offer a free guide on our website, greencardguys.com. So it's typically based on the general case type, like you want a company to sponsor you, or you're thinking about getting sponsored by a family member, and invest. You want to be an investor, like a startup business owner. We have guides on that and much more. All right, Judson, you have advanced parole. You travel one time, and it's for multiple times. Is it safe to travel again? As long as it's valid. I mean, if it, for some reason, if you're advanced pro, I've seen it sometimes on a approval notice that it said like approve approve for one time use, but your comment says you can use it multiple times. Then as long as it's valid and has not expired, you can go again. Am I missing something that is a concern? Let me know in the comments. Um, Ren Reed. Does she have to return it right away? I don't understand. Should you contact for clarification? Oh, you're right. You're saying work permit. Yeah, typically you have to return the actual card. So I would call USCIS hotline for that one to verify. Otherwise, I would try to see if you can submit an inquiry online first, because honestly, that's just faster than waiting on the line. But the hotline can take like, depending on the hour, which I recommend calling in the morning. I think at 8 a.m. Central. I think at what time it might start open the lines at 8 a.m. something like that. That's usually when I call. But otherwise, you wait later in the day. It could be like 20-30 minute wait. But yeah, typically you would have to return it. So, but I would, yeah, submit inquiry online or call in to verify first. All right. Thanks, Ren. Peepee, I hope I pronounced it right. Should I withdraw your 45 when you submit your VAWA, or wait to see which one I should get a call on first? When you say 45, do you mean like 45 based on your spouse? Um, when you submit your VAWA. Yeah, if your 45 is based on your spouse, then you can just withdraw it now, right? Because you don't want to, if it's based on spouse and then like if they schedule an interview, that they're gonna deny it, right? Because only if one of you show up, then that's not good. So I would just go ahead and withdraw that. If you're like 100%, you're gonna file VAWA and you're already I mean, if you're already separated and you haven't filed VAWA yet, then I would still withdraw the 45. Okay. Oh, interesting. Some comments in this live are filtered to protect community's experience. That's good to know. All right. Well, thanks for asking your questions in the comment section or chat box. I will get to them as soon as I can. I'm not able to answer all questions. I'm going to be here live probably another 5 minutes for y'all. You have a combo card, but afraid to travel back home. Is that because are you seeking asylum from that country? Um, you have a combo card. You can travel anywhere. It doesn't have to be back home. I know maybe you have family there and probably like miss you. I get that part, but you can travel anywhere. I mean, so even on the 131 application, at least for marriage-based cases, we usually put like, whatever countries you want as a client, but it doesn't mean you have to travel only to those countries, whatever you put on the 131, unless it has it specifically on the advance parole approval notice, which I've never seen it that way. All right, Nana, you have a niece and wife in West Africa. How can bring in the USA? You're a U.S. citizen. I think that's what you said. You're a citizen? Okay. Yeah, so for your spouse, it can be congratulations on being a U.S. citizen. For your spouse, you can file for what we call immediate relative. Your spouse is an immediate relative, so you can file a petition. All right. If your wife does not have a visitor visa, um, then and she's considering, well, it sounds like you're already married because you use what you said, wife. Then if it's going to be difficult to get a visitor visa, but then otherwise you just file a petition first. Okay. For your niece, you can adopt your niece, but your niece has to be under 16 years old when the adoption process is completed, or at that time. Okay, so otherwise, for your niece, if older than 16, maybe in college or graduate college, then start looking for sponsors, companies as sponsors. Okay. Let's see here. Alrighty. Thanks for tuning in live. Let's see. Hello, what year U visa pre-probation going? I don't know what you mean by that. What year U visa? I mean pre-probation. Not sure what you mean by that. Can you clarify what you're asking? Do you mean how long are U visas normally taking after filed? Normally 5 years due to the congressional fiscal limit only issues 10,000 U visas every year. It may seem like a lot, but there's a lot of people who have been abused or victim of a crime. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, Adam on YouTube. Good morning. You're waiting for an interview from Senegal F2A category. Your case is current since 6 months ago. So 6 months. Yeah, that's still waiting. Still waiting for an interview. I suggest if you haven't already, email the consulate to see when it's possible to be scheduled, because you want to at least show that you've tried to make effort on that. Because yeah, I've heard a long delay even for an employment base. Been, I think, waiting for at least a year for an interview, so it's pretty ridiculous. How much is consultation? So we actually offer for no cost for the consultation. We offer for free. All right, so no cost to you, but not everyone's qualified for consultation just because we receive a lot of inquiries, as you can imagine. We do appreciate everyone's questions and whatnot, and no pressure. If you want to hire us, ask us to help you with your case, it's our pleasure, but there's no obligation to do that. To authorize us after the consultation. Our main thing is we want to help point you in the right direction, if anything. Okay. But if you need more time than 15 minutes, then it's on our website. I'm not allowed to share on the live show, unfortunately, or I would. Don't want to get banned. Let's see here. Okay, in the meantime, on the YouTube, Trinor, I remember your name from the other day, I believe. You're a beneficiary for immigrant visa. Your case has been DQ'd since July 2021. Up to now, you haven't received your visa appointment letter from NVC. Okay, yeah, that I don't remember if you're immediate relative or not, but either way, you said if it is immediate relative, meaning your visa number is available, you just need to have the interview. And now it's October 2023. It's been what, a little over 2 years. Yeah, then you might want to consider filing a lawsuit. Okay, Chinor. So hate to say that's the last resort for you, because and some people ask, well, how come they didn't schedule me? There's so many people they could have mistracked. So it can happen, right? The U.S. government is not as organized as some people may think, even though we're a world superpower. Okay. Hola, Demi. I think I know who this is. Welcome. You've been waiting for a response. Oh wait, no, there's someone else. You've been waiting for a response for 18 months after you got your NOID. You sent a NOID 18 months ago. That's a long time. Yeah. In in some scenarios for NOID, I recommend before filing a lawsuit, when you send a notice, depending on scenario, depending on jurisdiction, we see if we can contact the local liaison with our what we call AILA, American Immigration Lawyers Association. Each field office has their own liaison, which is a lawyer as well, and we see if it meets the parameters of for the liaison to submit the request to the USCIS field office, for example. And if that's not successful, then we file a lawsuit. Okay. So, but 18 months, yeah, that's a long time. So, yeah, you may want to consider filing a lawsuit, but at the very least. So, I don't, so that's the other reason why you may want to have a lawyer, right? Because we have access to our liaisons, depending on the field office, and we can try to get it going. Like, look, let's say you said you responded to RFE last month. That's not a scenario to have our liaison to look at the case or see if it can qualify to get it submitted up to USCIS field office. So it has to be within reason, right? But like Ola Dami here says 18 months. I think even if when it gets for us, when we get 6 months, that's when we start considering the guidelines to submit the request to the liaison. Okay, Rock Trend. Since work permit takes time, can you apply 1 year before it expires? Well, well, Rock Trend, I'm not sure if you know about this, but USCIS has updated policy about 1 or 2 weeks ago to say that certain EAD categories is valid for 5 years. So, but it sounds like you're talking about your current work visa. So I don't think you can file 1 year in advance, unfortunately. Okay. How long is the wait time to become a citizen if I just remove conditions through marriage through VAWA? Okay. How long is the wait time to become citizen? So if you got it through VAWA in general, then it's 3 years. Okay, you can apply to become a citizen in 3 years. I mean, this is also assuming it's based on a U.S. citizen marriage, which it seems like it. All right, from what you're saying here. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Happy to answer your questions to the best of my ability. By the way, this is a great time to ask you. It means the world to us if you can subscribe down below, or if you're on TikTok, to click follow. I don't know how it works. I think on TikTok is up there. Tap the screen for the likes. Apparently that helps share the video, or on YouTube, click the thumbs up. So apparently that helps. That's what my marketing team tells me. And of course, if you know someone who's has an immigration case, might have a question, share our video. We greatly appreciate it. And they can scroll through the videos. All right. Waiting for 10 months. Okay, you're waiting for 10 months at NVC. Is this normal? Should you worry? It's for Islamabad. When you say waiting 10 months, is that waiting for the interview or waiting after the interview? Okay, if you're waiting for the interview, I would say 12 months is when I would consider filing a lawsuit. Okay, but if you're waiting, this means after DQ'd, like you already submitted all your documents on the CEAC portal. But if you're waiting for the visa to be issued, then you might want to consider. Oh, for the interview. Okay, yeah. So you might want to consider waiting 2 more months to file a lawsuit. But hopefully, what I would recommend is first emailing in. But the thing is, with Islamabad, boy, there's so many people applying through there. But I also do believe they're discriminatory in general. So even after you have the interview, who's there that just expect to get the 221G or have to fill out this form DS 5535. All right, so I know it's very frustrating. And yeah, you would think that they do all that beforehand or ask you to do that beforehand. Let me click on G Stop Studios. You're in your 10th month since you set your fingerprints in or you completed that for VAWA. Is that too long? Oh, and you're waiting for the work permit? I mean, I don't know why the work permits take longer for VAWA. You would think that the government would issue that sooner for those that file VAWA. That's tough to say. I think it's reaching that point that's taking too long. See if you can submit inquiry. Hopefully you can. All right, on the online. On TikTok, by the way, I think on YouTube I have this too, but I do have a video about how to submit inquiry. I'm pretty sure. If not, I'll record one. I do remember at least processing time. I have a video like that. But if you're on TikTok, you're wondering how to get to my YouTube channel, it's greencardguys.tv. Okay, you applied for VAWA in February. How much longer should you wait to receive your EAD? February. Yeah, that sounds similar to the prior viewer here. Man, it's October now, so it's 8 months. Yes, let me see. Let me see if I can find this on the processing time schedule here. They're super frustrating. Let's see if it's specific to VAWA on the website here. It doesn't appear that they have a separate one just for VAWA. Okay. And it also depends on the service center. Okay, the location. Like I just clicked California Service Center. So for y'all, mostly VAWA may go to National Benefit Center, 12 months. Shows right now. Vermont Service Center says 5.5 months, which is a damn lie. We all know that. Nebraska. Well, yeah, I mean, actually, EADs for VAWA goes to Nebraska. It's so weird. So Nebraska says in 11.5 months. Several months ago, they changed the mailing address for VAWA applications to go to Nebraska Service Center. And now some of our clients, their case got transferred back to Vermont Service Center. It's like, holy hell, like this is like ridiculous. We all know Vermont takes a long time. But it's weird now because Vermont Service Center now for 765 shows 5.5 months, where Nebraska shows 11.5 months. So you can imagine the frustration here. Okay, so let me see if I can share that on YouTube real quick so you can see it. So for those on YouTube, that's where it is right here. Click the drop down, click on Vermont right there. So, but for those that are marriage-based, let me just click on C9. Let's go to Nebraska. 5.5 months. Vermont, C9. It could be tucked under this. So the C9 category, then it's the reverse. Right? It's the reverse. Vermont Service Center says it's 11.5 months, whereas Nebraska said 5.5 months, I believe. I just saw. So 4.5 months. So it's just frustrating either way, folks. You might, I mean, these data points are helpful to you. I mean, hopefully helpful to you. But yeah, it's pretty frustrating. Hello. How long after VAWA approval can a person apply for citizenship? So if the VAWA is based on marriage to a U.S. citizen, then it's 3 years. Okay. G stop asked here. If you sent your fingerprints in December 22, so last year, I guess, shouldn't they have acknowledged that they got them? I need to keep track of all the different statuses I show online. I'll have to ask the team to screenshot it because, for RFE response, we do know that they actually says like RFE response received, but for fingerprints, I don't recall them doing that. I don't think they say, okay, we got your fingerprints. Now it's in process for your work permit. I don't recall that. Okay. So yeah, I don't. I mention about Domino's Pizza quite often, but I'm not sponsored by them. But it's Domino's Pizza is you know what to expect in the pizza tracker system, whereas USCIS USCIS is not so good about that. All right, so but that's a great question because I need to ask my team to like screenshot those various statuses for each case type or application, and that way we'll share it with y'all, even if you don't even become a client. Y'all need to know this, so we'll find a way to share this. Can you get married if you came on a J1 and did not complete the program? Ooh. Um, I don't. It's not, from my understanding, it's not so much about completing the program, or even if it's F1 student visa, people drop out of school, right? But J1 is more about the stamp. Do you have a stamp on your passport that says um, you have a 2-year restriction? um, then if you do, then that's an issue. But even if you have the 2-year stamp, that doesn't mean you can't get married. But first, I recommend you speak to a lawyer to see if you can have an exception or qualify for an exception to that 2-year restriction. Not everyone that has J1 has a 2-year restriction. Typically, it depends on your country, and I've looked at it before. It's a federal rule. It's a long freaking list. I wish it was easy to just um, have like a chart, but it's not. It's not that way. So you need to speak to a lawyer about that. Okay. At least we have a better idea, because hate for you to get married and then your spouse is like, "What the hell, dude? You didn't tell me about this 2-year restriction. You can't qualify for exception." So my husband, your husband filed for VAWA. Can you apply for EAD as a spouse? Yes, you can. I believe the rule is 150 days. You have to wait after you file asylum and then apply for the 765. But yes, as a spouse, you can file for that as well. we don't uh, we don't help with asylum, by the way. We know a couple other lawyers um, that help with that. So if you need referrals, even if you already filed it and you're about to have interview, uh, that's when that's when you can let us know. You don't have the 2-year restriction. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Congratulations, man. Because that's a whole other ball game. That's a whole other layer of legal issues. All right, G stop. For inquiry guidance, is it on TikTok or YouTube, both? Well, just inquiry in general. How to submit inquiry. I definitely know I have it on YouTube right now, but if I don't have it on TikTok, I'll try to record that later today. Okay, I do have some cases I need to take care of, but today, but if not today or tomorrow. But in the meantime, please check out YouTube for that one. I think it's called like case status, something like that. I think YouTube allows you to search. The search is not as good as TikTok. I know it's weird. Bill Cody, please, if F1 student drop out of school, is a person automatic deportation? No, not automatic deportation, but it will be most likely a referral to immigration court. They're usually pretty good about that. So because the DSO at your international department of your school has to update the SEVA system to indicate that you're not in school anymore. So that's just something to keep in mind. So what I recommend is have a game plan. Okay, have a game plan. What are you going to have next? Because once you stop school and you drop out, you're gonna overstay your visa. So so something to keep in mind. All right. Bay Light. When can we file 45 or EB3? Um, so 45 based on employment based, that's only if you're here in the United States and you have maintained your non-immigrant status. So you to know when, it depends on chart B. If you're in the United States right now, it can change every month, but right now currently it's chart B. Okay, or early filing action date. That's what USCIS is using for those who are in the United States. USAIR, our main office is in Houston, Texas. Yes. Simon Dare, your VAWA case has been pending since August 2020. Is that normal? 2020? Let me see. Let me see for you, okay? My gut right now says not normal because that's what, almost 3 years? Well, it's been 3 years. Yeah, you said August, so now we're in almost November. Did you, Simon, did you send it with the 485 also, or only I-360 only? But I'm clicking, let me share on YouTube at least. I know you're on TikTok, but on YouTube, I can show here that VAWA by itself is 35 and a half months. So what is that? 3 years. So yeah, I mean, right around this time, you should have received some kind of decision, right? So yeah, yours is past 3 years, if my math is right. So you should be able to submit an inquiry, and we do have a video on that on TikTok, at least how to submit an inquiry. All right, pretty sure. I'll check that out as well. But yeah, you should be able to submit inquiry. All righty. Let's see here. Yes, you sent everything together. Okay, well then, if you sent everything together, then that's too long. Okay, that's way too long. So I don't want to say it's. You mean you might want to consider filing a mandamus lawsuit, but before you do that, you might as well give at least one chance to submit an inquiry. The lawsuit does not require submit inquiry, but I would just try that one time and see, because we're all about trying to save y'all cost ultimately. But in worst case scenario, consider it as your last resort, okay, to file a lawsuit. All right. Let's see. When Ara, when undocumented person want to go home to home country, are they going to hold you in airport? Like, you're leaving the United States? If you're leaving the United States, the customs not going to stop you from leaving. But if you're trying to enter as undocumented, then yeah, that is gonna hold you at the airport at the deferred and what we call like secondary inspection, and they won't let you in. But typically, but I think you mean leaving the United States. Yeah, leaving. So yeah, I don't recall anyone telling our team about being held back, because yeah, I don't think you go through customs. It's just about being able to re-enter. Let's say you're enter that country, right? Like if you have a visa to that other country, the people that work at the airlines, when you check in, they typically ask that question when they see your destination point and they see what your country is, country nationality. They tend to ask that, and that's because the other country requires that, from what I understand. All right, so hopefully that helps out. Muhammad, can religious worker be eligible for portability? I remember you asking that question, but I just don't have the answer on that right now because I don't know what stage your case is. So this is one of those situations that you may want to consider giving us a call right up here, and whoever you talk to is not going to know that answer right off the bat. So please know, folks, we really appreciate when you want to call in and schedule a strategy session so our team can qualify you for that. But when it gets to something more detailed like this, it's or may need more like follow-up questions by attorneys, please know that it's likely better to schedule a strategy session or consultation. Okay. You're welcome, Ara. Appreciate it. By the way, folks, if you got some kind of value from our channel, our show today, or maybe in the past, please give us a follow for more for future videos, or tap the screen. Appreciate it. It means a lot to us. Does Vermont Service Center reply to expedite requests, either approval or denial? Most like we're actually trying that right now, and but it won't. I don't believe expedite request is for the I-360, if that's what you mean. We're trying that right now through for the advanced parole, okay, through the service center. Okay, now Lorraine on YouTube. Good day. Got DQ'd in June. You sent inquiry. Will it help getting a visa appointment date? I mean, that's the first step I would do. I don't know if it helps, but it's for peace of mind to make sure they know that you got your case on there. It's in Jamaica. June. I know my strange I say this, but it might be too soon for them to schedule an interview, just because a lot of the average, it seems like, seems to be average 6 months across the world. Okay. It's your daughter doing the filing, so filed for you. Okay, glad your daughter did that for you. But you got DQ'd. I mean, that's great. I'm very happy for you, DQ, because some people have called in, had a consultation with me or my premier associates, and they thought that, hey, they're ready to file a lawsuit. Been waiting 1 or 2 years, and I said, we asked those follow-up questions, and it turns out they weren't DQ'd yet. They weren't aware of that step. They need to upload documents. So that's why, for some of y'all, we really encourage hiring a lawyer in the first place. So, but at that point, for that person, I said, this is what you need to do. Contact us if you get delayed, but hopefully you don't. But at that point, we can't. Lawyers don't really want to walk you through every step. Otherwise, at that point, you need to hire a lawyer. So. Morty wants more. Do they even respond if they deny it? There's an issue with them responding, especially when it's a VAWA case, because it's confidential. So that's why for us, we had to just went ahead and emailed the Nebraska Service Center or Vermont Service Center, because when we submit an inquiry or expedite request through USCIS to the hotline, a week later, which they say claim it takes 7 days, they just got a report back saying, oh, it's privacy. So that means it's because it's confidential, because of VAWA. So that's I'm not sure when after submitting through a service center. We'll see. We're honestly doing it for the first time for a VAWA case. So we'll let you know. You mean how long? How long? Some of y'all funny. Are y'all like talking to your phone? And it's sometimes voice to text. It does some crazy stuff. How long does a DS-55 processing take? Your husband is waiting for that. Oh man, holy hell! It takes a long time. It takes a ridiculously long time. It's so frustrating. So essentially, it's what we call 221G stage, or online it can say visa refused. It does not actually mean visa denied. But there's no, I hate to say this, there's no set time period. For Islamabad, Pakistan, they tend to take very long for that, like almost a year, but at least a year. But for other countries, it doesn't seem to take as long as Islamabad, maybe like 6 months. But when it gets to 6 months, let's talk at least, okay? Don't wait a year. Yeah, happy to help. All right, folks. I got to get to a team meeting. Thank you so much for your questions. If I didn't, I couldn't, I'm not able to answer all the questions, but if I didn't answer, see if you qualify for a strategy session, okay? And I'll ask my team to, yeah, anyways, give us a call and we greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And we have a form on our website, greencardguys.com. We all have a wonderful day. Take care now. Bye bye.